Hey guys, so I'm on the road in my beautiful home state of Florida, and it's a little cool. What is it, about 61 degrees Fahrenheit, low humidity, low wind, but it's a little bit cool. But I am heading south today. It's the weekend as I make this, so I can just take my time. I don't have to work or anything, and it's just a beautiful open road here as I drive in Florida. But I have the camera facing me because I wanted to avoid the glare of the sun on the camera. And in this video, kind of what I want to talk about is just living like a bird, living free. Of course, living in my car, part of the enchanting, the liberating, the peace that comes with this lifestyle is the lack of being tied down, the lack of obligation, the lack of mental burdens. And hitting the open road, especially, when days I'm off of work and not having to go back to one area, not having to think about the responsibilities that come with a property, that is a liberating, free feeling. It's like living like a bird. You are a bird. Just like a bird, there may be certain times where you're flying and then you want to rest. So you land on a tree or you land on a electrical utility line and you rest and you oversee, the area that you stopped in for a period of time. But just like many birds, then you get up and you fly away again. And I would consider myself like an eagle. From my understanding, eagles mainly fly alone. There's certain type of birds that fly in packs, and you see that in the nomad community. There's certain channels that promote alliances and groups and pack orient and tribes. And for survival, certain people need other people to make a whole community, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there's wisdom in that, and there's strength in that, and we all need each other to a certain extent. And I'm part of community of this world, humanity, and the community of the United States and the community of Florida. But for the most part, I am an eagle. I like to soar alone. Doesn't make me better than anyone else when I say that, so I'm conscious of that, of being, having humility. But I'm just trying to say I wouldn't do well with a family, with a girlfriend. Here I am on the weekend, a family member, a friend, a loved one. They may want to say, all right, let's go to the shopping centers, let's go to Target, let's go to the beach together. And some people I know live for that, and that encourages them. They like to go in packs. They like to fly in packs of other geese, of other duck. I like to soar alone. That's how I am. Again, it's not that I'm better or anything else. It's just a different mindset. I like living like a bird. I like flying alone. That brings me peace. That brings me clarity. That helps me decompress from the stresses of this world. And that's part of the reason why I chose this lifestyle. It intrigued me enough because it was definitely a different, non-conforming lifestyle than what I was used to. I grew up in a house, then I moved out at 22, and then I owned a house for 15 years. And then on the quest of downsizing and relocating from New Jersey to Florida, I saw on YouTube people living in RVs and cars and vans. And I said, well, this is definitely something that may fit my personality. Because as I got mature and then I kind of really developed myself, and I said, I'm really not good in relationships. I don't like relationships. I like to kind of do my own thing. This plays to a lot of my strengths. Low commitment, no commitment really, no obligation, maximum freedom. That freedom is addictive, and that freedom, but that freedom feeds my peace. The obligations of a property, the obligations of relationships, they feed my anxieties. Freedom feeds my peace. Obligations feed my anxieties. And so living this lifestyle, living in my car, living as a nomad with minimum to no commitments and maximum freedom, is my life perfect? No. Are there things that, but it's overall a pretty great life for me. And overall, it's been a blessing for me. There's downsides. It's not for everyone. We're all unique. So I don't want to oversell someone on what works for me. But I want to share that this life on the road and this life living a completely minimalistic life, living out of my car, living out of one bag, it's been a blessing. Now, it's certainly got enhanced within the past 8 months or 6 months, whichever it's been, when I was able to transfer my job to a remote position, meaning that I work in the technology industry, so I can work now anywhere where there is Wi-Fi. And usually that's a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. But, you know, for 2 years living out of my car, I had one office that I had to go to, 4 to 5 days out of the week. So I understand both. And for me, I said, well, if I live in my car, even if I have to go to an office, I know my long-term goal was to either get a remote position or get some type of transfer down to a southern state. And again, if you have some type of, and not just a southern state, I want to go to Florida. If you're in a similar mindset, again, I want to encourage you that your first step to transitioning is to liquidate, sell, throw out, consolidate, so you can position yourself when there is a job opening, or as you apply to other jobs, you're ready. Because what I've learned is, the first thing a company's going to ask you is, all right, do you live in Florida, or do you live in this area, and do you have a license in this area, and have you sold your house? Because if you haven't sold your house, if you don't have a license, if you don't have all the things in the state that you want to look to move, it doesn't look like you've committed to that place. And companies are like, well, this person, sometimes they may offer you the job still, but they may say you're not committed. Now, but again, my situation worked out differently. But I do want to get back to the focus. And even as I'm drawing, I see birds and different type of birds just soaring in the air over this highway that I'm driving. And again, that's where I'm doing today, is I'm flying. And soaring to the next area where I will land for a little while, maybe a couple days, maybe a couple weeks. What I found is usually I'll stay in the area no longer than 2 weeks, and then I'll soar. And sometimes it's only 2 days, sometimes it's 1 day. And that freedom feeds my peace. And that's what it's like, kind of like to live like a bird. I have that, tatted on my arm there. And I remember dating a girl, and we were very similar, and that's probably why it didn't work out. And we both liked no commitment, but we both liked, a little bit of we like the positive aspects of a relationship, which is intimacy, etc. But we didn't like the commitment part. And she was like, I'm like a bird. The closer you get to a bird, it flies away. The closer you try to get to a bird, the more it flies away. And when I say that, I'm not that person where I shut myself off. I share all of my soul. I share more of myself with people than people in relationships don't share with each other. So I'm not insecure where I'm scared to share myself, or I'm scared to get hurt. That's not it for me. I just don't like to be around people, and I like fly away because I just like my own time. There's a difference. But I remember her saying that, she's like a bird, I'm like a bird. And, birds are meant to be free, not to be caged. And you could try to fight that. You can try to suppress that. But you'll wake up a few years later resentful and in a bad place in a relationship and with yourself, because you have to know yourself. Knowing yourself is the key to all decisions. And not for this lifestyle and this mindset is not for all people, but I'm sharing mine. I'm giving you insight into why this is an intriguing lifestyle if you like to be mainly by yourself. Not that you can't do this lifestyle as far as living in your car, being a nomad, and being a pack, because there's plenty of other channels and people that preach that. But for me, the liberating part is the freedom and the lack of obligation and living like a bird. And that's what I wanted to share in this video. That's what I try to communicate. But again, be you, do you, and God bless.